From Chesapeake, Virginia, WHKT presents Sports Scene. Sports Scene features local, regional, and nationally acclaimed guests and excellent interviews. Follow Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick. Now here is Greg Bicouvaris.
All right, thank you very much, Joe Daniel, on this beautiful September 6th Sports Scene. We are live as always, an interview show each Wednesday from 12 to 1. Also, sports highlights on nnpstv.com. Tell your friends about gjbtv.com, Twitter at Greg Bick, and you can see the rest of the Twitter handles on gjbtv.com in the contact section. Thank you to our military. Guest lineup presented by Outback Steakhouse in Kempsville. We'll talk to Matt Sims, the CEO of the USCAA, and also Dave Johnson, an anchor with Comcast Sportsnet, a little bit later, who will talk about the Redskins and much, much more. Guest lineup presented by Mi Casita Mexican Restaurant with 2 locations in Virginia Beach. Phone line presented by Newport News Greek Festival Fall Edition. Show presented by Hampton Road Sports Media Hall of Fame.com. That's HRSMHOF.com. Kudos to Virginia Tech for winning, as well as UVA and Old Dominion. NFL is here, week 1, despite Irma in the wind. High school football is at it. Major League Baseball as we get closer to the postseason. Great interviews, business segments, highlights, commentary, what teased me off. Thank you for making the habit to listen to Sports Scene weekly, and we love our regulars and newcomers and tourists as well. All right, stay tuned for Sports Scene. Don't forget gjbtv.com. Hit the YouTube link for archive shows.
Catch up on archived editions of Sports Scene by going to gjbtv.com and clicking the YouTube image on the homepage. Now back to Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris.
All right, thank you very much, Joe Daniel. Right here, Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us for Sports Scene. This segment brought to you by Sakura Japanese Restaurant, Sushi Bar, Takeout, Dine-In. They deliver as well on OrderUp.com. Walmart Way Crossing, 1437 Sam's Drive. Give them a call at 410-4577. Lunch and dinner at Sakura Japanese Restaurant in Chesapeake. Go by and see Jasmine. Well, we've had him on Sports Highlights, Sports Scene. He's done several shows here as well. Let's welcome back Matt Sims, CEO of the Collegiate Athletic Conference called the USCAA. How are you?
I'm doing well, Greg. Thanks for having me on.
Very good, very good. How's your summer been so far?
It's been a great summer. You know, working in the collegiate athletic market for us, it's a opportunity where we get to take a breath of fresh air and plan for the new year to come.
It really is important to reset after a long year.
It is. Our organization, the United States Collegiate Athletic Association, we host 14 national championships each year. Obviously, our niche is for small colleges across the country. We currently have 90 members, mostly based east of the Mississippi, with concentrations in Pennsylvania up through the Northeast, along the Mid-Atlantic, and then down in the southern region there.
Very good. When you talk about your conference, how has it evolved the last several years when Bill Casto, the former athletic director of the apprentice school, was there?
Yeah, so that's a great story. Back in 2005, I was serving an internship for Bill Casto, who was the athletic director of the apprentice school. His roots go back to coaching at William & Mary. And Bill was asked to come on and serve as a commissioner of this organization that was sort of struggling at the time. They were down to 42 members. They had an operating budget of about $50,000. And people were scared that the organization was going under. For so long, prior to 2001, it had been called the National Small College Athletic Association, and has roots all the way back to the 1960s. So Bill and myself sort of came on board, and it was a side project for so long. You know, I had a full-time job at the apprentice school in Newport News. Bill was working there as well. We developed a good partnership locally with Old Dominion University, seeking graduate students and interns who could really help with the day-to-day. And, you know, we did a great job marketing the association to the point where it took off in 2010, and we started hiring full-time employees. And
you got a background at Old Dominion.
I do, yeah. I received my undergrad from Old Dominion University in 2007, and spent 4 of the best years of my life there in Norfolk.
Very good. Talking to Matt Sims, who's the CEO of the USCAA. You've had offices in Newport News, and now you're primarily in Norfolk.
Yeah, so we relocated to downtown Norfolk in August of last year, and that was a strategic move. Number one, we wanted to capitalize more, again, on that great working relationship with Old Dominion University's sports management program. We also had a lot of strong local community partners with the Hampton Roads Sports Commission, Norfolk Economic Council, who came in and sort of helped negotiate a great deal for our lease. We really enjoy it. It's a great place to be.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about some of your sports here. And we've had Chris Sawyer from his school as well, Stratford. That's brand new. That's starting. Of course, you've been there and done that.
Yeah. So
from the ground floor.
From the ground floor. On the association side, there's always little differences, but it's exciting to see a group like Stratford, who are starting from the ground floor up. And the great part about it is that there's an association like the USCAA that can serve those institutions. That's really why we exist, is to provide opportunities for small colleges to compete against like institutions. And many of our members are vocational type institutions like a Stratford, like a Johnson & Wales, like a Bryant and Stratton College, that really aren't a great fit for the NCAA based on the size, based on the financial resources that they have to go out to recruit and retain student athletes. Our motto is leveling the playing field for America's small colleges, and we hope to do that for Stratford, who is creating an athletic department such that they can recruit and retain a unique subset of students coming from high school and matriculating to college.
Talking to Matt Sims, Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us. For more, go to gjbtv.com, hit the YouTube link for archive shows, all powered by Hampton Roads, onlinemall.com. Browse, shop, and visit. Of course, the fall championships are always fun, but really the school year has started. Let's talk about how many sports teams, men and women, you have. You basically are co-ed as well.
We are, yeah. And so we have just over 90 member institutions across the country. Each institution ranges generally from having 5 to 10 sports at the small college level, men and women. And, you mentioned the fall national championships, which are coming up. We do our golf national championship at Penn State University. That's the second week of October. And then the biggest event of the year for us is our fall national championship week, which we just brought to Virginia Beach last year, and that encompasses our men's and women's cross country, men's and women's soccer, and women's volleyball national championships.
What a great facility that is.
It is. It's really great. Not only is Virginia Beach Sports Marketing just a tremendous partner to work with, but we have the locations of the Princess Anne complex. That's a soccer complex that continues to grow each year. There is the Virginia Beach Sportsplex, where we host our semifinals and finals for soccer. We also run the cross country just behind that facility, and then the field house, which houses our volleyball national championships.
Absolutely. What does it take for your behind-the-scenes staff to put on a championship? Because I was part of a couple, one in Hampton, Virginia a few years ago for the baseball and, of course, volleyball. But it takes a lot of time, talent, and, of course, treasure to do that.
Yeah, it's a logistics, totally logistics. There's two things that I'd say. One is that so many people think that in sports management you just roll the ball out on the field and they're ready to go. There's so many things that go into an event like this for almost 1,600 participants who are coming from out of the state into this area. I don't want to go into all the details, but you're talking about scheduling officials, providing housing for 1,600 people, staffing, which are a couple hundred people that you have to orchestrate throughout the week-long event. There's a lot to that. The other thing I would say is that people oftentimes think that sports management is a lot more glamorous than it really is. There's a lot of just legwork and grit that go into running an organization of this size. So
it sure is. It really does take a big effort too. And sports is underway. Collegiate athletics is underway too, with Division I, Division II, Division III, and Do you try to compare yourselves to that, or really, you're comfortable in your own little zone, in your own little hemisphere? Because you've been part of Division One with Old Dominion, so you've seen the Division One sports. You saw Old Dominion evolve into football. Are you just comfortable in your own little USCA bubble, or do you kind of pick from everywhere?
Well, you asked, do we want to be like them? No, I don't want to be like them. I want to completely separate myself from, especially what the NCAA continues to evolve and look like when you talk about financial models, we're a mission-based and a mission-driven organization, and that mission is to provide opportunities for young people for a chance to compete. And we believe that chance of competing correlates to them becoming better professionals and better leaders one day. So everything that we do is driven towards that mission. It's not driven towards money and sponsorships and all of that. Those things will come as we continue to grow, but we will always be mission driven in providing the best opportunity and experience for kids when they come in to compete for a national championship.
Because I do myself on-air sales or work at the network television level. I have to multitask doing a lot of jobs besides this show that I host once a week, TV shows, putting people on channel 3, 10, or 13 or whatever. But I multitask. I can only imagine what you have to do with a limited staff, because dealing with businesses alone, let alone athletic directors and coaches and venues and dates, is a full-time job before you even get a chance to enjoy the soccer or basketball game.
Yeah, so, we have 5 full-time staff members. We're a growing association. So really the thing that I have had to, I would say the biggest challenge after our biggest bump of growth back in 2009, 2010 has been managing human resource and where we're going to prioritize our time. And going back to just my last comment, if I'm going to prioritize where my people are, it's into creating better experiences in what we do and in our events.
All right, while Matt is talking about that, brief moment right here, Vanguard Championship Wrestling is bringing live professional wrestling to Suffolk Salvation Army Community Center, located at 400 Bank Street in Suffolk, Saturday night, this Saturday, September 9th. Bell time is 7:30 as well. So when you talk about the media, today's media, how do you communicate with your schools?
That's evolved a lot as well. You talk about how things were done 10 years ago. You take a simple reporting like our eligibility documentation. 10 years ago, these documents were faxed to us. Today, it's all put into a computer system and reported back. Technology has certainly created new challenges, and I'll say the same thing that Bill told me back when I was the young pup 12 years ago, is that you always have to rely on the specialties and the talents of those people that are working for you. And so it's been great to see a new class of individuals coming out from Old Dominion who understand the Facebook and the Twitter and the Instagram and how all of these technologies are involving what they mean to students and how we can very quickly or more quickly reach our audience and spread our message.
It's like email couldn't have come at a better time. I remember talking to Bill Casto when he was the athletic director of the Apprentice School. Way back in '94, we did a coaches show with Coach Hoffman, who the football coach then at the time, picked it up. We're going to do the radio show at WTJZ, which this station is part of, AM 1270. We did it during the weeknight. Coach Hoffman wanted a rough draft outline of what we're going to talk about. Here's the budget. We did it by phone. Nobody's got time to make 50 phone calls anymore. There's no way you can do that now. Times have really changed. That wasn't that long ago.
That's right. And think about this. When's the last time you left your house without your phone? On purpose.
Sometimes, like when I go to the beach or eat, I like to put it away. But that's about it.
And we shouldn't discount the importance of face-to-face communication. That's the thing I struggle with most. There's times where people will want to do teleconferences, but on certain subject matter, I want to meet you face to face, and I want to be able for you to read me and for me to read you, both in verbal and nonverbal communication. The evolution of social media has allowed us again to get our message to people quicker. but it's also created, I think, some challenges in understanding one another as well, and things that we'll have to navigate as we move forward into a new era of technology.
You mentioned about communication, but do you have to travel to every championship, or how does the regular season work for your schedule and the staff schedule as far as being present compared to championships when you're always present?
Yeah, I mean, during the regular the season, if you will, our staff is mostly in Norfolk. We have obviously a governance arm with eligibility, statistical reporting, things like that. We're overseeing rules, a set of guidelines, and then we're also managing all of our communication systems, our website, and so forth. Meanwhile, we're planning for the championship event. Once the championship event comes, a couple days out, we're traveling to the site, we're setting up, getting ready for all of that, and then once you put the ball in the air, it's all downhill from there.
We're talking to Matt Sims. He's the CEO of the USCAA. Greg Bickle on Twitter, GREGBIC. Go ahead and plug all your social media.
Sure, yeah. So people can learn more about us through our website, which is theuscaa.com. You can also follow what's going on our social media, Twitter at USCAA and Facebook /theUSCAA.
And so much is important to connect online, because really that's a beast that's fed 24/7.
Oh, it doesn't stop. It never stops.
Very good, very good. As far as sports in general, collegiate sports, you're seeing, let's at a big level event like a UVA or a Tech game or Old Dominion, people bringing their phones, sometimes watching another game, listening to a game on their phone. Like you said, rarely do you not leave the house without your phone. Is that concerning as far as attendance? Because you don't see the smaller colleges getting that attendance. You're competing now against the phone as well, not just for TV and back in the day going to a movie or going out to dinner. The phone can be a distraction, good, bad, and ugly sometimes, even for in-house attendance for sporting events or anything else. You've seen it affect movie theaters, but it's entertainment.
It makes you rethink every communication platform. It really does. At the small college level, I'm not concerned with trying to put 10 to 20,000 people in the seats. It's just not going to happen. But you take something like what platforms we're using to get out our message. Again, I mentioned 10 years ago when we did a redesign of a website, which we're going through right now, I was focused on how somebody is going to get on their computer and navigate my page. I have to completely rethink that now, because over 80% of people who are consuming our message are using a tablet or iPhone to do so. And it's completely different navigation. It's a completely different way of thinking.
Right. We started the Hampton Roads Sports Media Hall of Fame as well. That'll take off next year in 2018. We've already got our board together. But we made our website almost like computer phone friendly. Very simple. We got our board on there, got our contact page. We got our media and publicity, and it's very clean, simple, like a little tablet. It was, people want it in bits and pieces. They don't want a lot of minutia or blogs.
No, they don't. They want it in bits and pieces, and they want to be able to find it fast too, which is why we've had to rethink our streaming platform as well, where before we were embedding it into a website or something like that. Now we have to look and say, well, can we provide a high quality production and do it through Facebook Live? I think that Facebook Live is totally going to change the game in live sports or live content viewing.
Well, we're already seeing it. Twitter, the NFL's done Twitter. They've done broadcast on Yahoo. It's unbelievable. It just is as good as your phone is, as good as the content will be.
It is. And 5 years ago, as we're starting to develop and grow as an organization, we're like, well, how can we get on network TV? Because that's going to, improve and boost our brand. Now we're totally rethinking whether that's even worth the investment anymore, and whether or not we just create some sort of, unique content in order to sort of complement what we're doing on site at our championships and try to gain awareness that way.
And you're doing a smart thing, because you've done a lot of almost like an ESPN3 style broadcast, a closed circuit, but it's available online. That's really all people care about anymore. They're not going to go to Buffalo Wild Wings to watch your broadcast, but they will still watch it on their phone or their computer, and really that's where they want that convenient of knowing the score and maybe seeing a little action as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're talking to Matt Sims, CEO of the USCAA. What is your opinion on the health of collegiate athletics today at all levels?
I have a lot of concern, not so much for collegiate athletics itself, and what I mean by that, and sports serves a purpose. I think I talked a little bit about that when I talk about developing young people, and so you look at an association like the NCAA. I hope that they keep that as a priority, not in just these taglines and what they promote there, but in their mission and how they promote student athletes. I think the biggest challenge that we're up against, though, when we talk about post-secondary institutions, is just the rising cost of tuition, and with so many institutions being tuition driven, how that is going to impact students who are at small colleges. I'm not talking about Division I athletes who are all on full scholarships. I'm talking about the ones who are attending non-scholarship programs and other private small institutions that have to assume the cost of going to school and are still almost going. It's like athletics at any college is like a full-time job. You wake up at 6 a.m., you go to training and lifting, you go to class, you go to practice, and then you try to study. There's no time for those students to have jobs to try to supplement that weighing cost that is on them so early in life.
Not to mention, too, look at the Big Ten level. Let's take Maryland, who was a long-time ACC team, especially the winner in the collegiate sports. I mean, going to Minnesota and Purdue, Indiana, Northwestern, Ohio State during basketball or baseball season, that's a lot of traveling without even opening up a tablet sometimes. Or just your demands on your time, to me, is the toughest thing, because it's about academics, athletics, and activities.
Oh, it is. And, as an association, we talk about scheduling our national championships. That's always weighing in from our presidents and our athletic directors, saying we have to avoid missed class time at any cost, because we're already, putting these kids at so much risk of academic performance and so much more. So.
All right. Yeah, very good. What should we save the date for? What's coming up that we should look forward to?
Well, being a local show, we certainly want to tell everybody about Fall National Championship Week. That's November 9th through the 13th. We'll have events going on throughout the week over at Virginia Beach Sportsplex, and they can go onto our website, theuscaa.com, click under any of the fall championships, volleyball, cross country, or soccer, to learn more about the schedule of events.
And the Twitter handle?
Twitter handle is @USCAA, and we'll continue to be promoting that event throughout the next few weeks.
All right, very good. Very famous school at Old Dominion. Matt Sims taking the USCAA to new level, and very young himself. So continue evolving for that wonderful conference.
I appreciate it, Greg.
Very good. The CEO right there, Matt Sims of the USCAA, right here on Sports Scene Live at 12:29. For more, go to gjbtv.com, hit the YouTube link, and of course, stay tuned for the news. Sports Scene will continue.
Interact with Sports Scene on Twitter @GregBick. Email bicogb@hotmail.com. Now back to Greg Bicouvaris in the Hampton Roads OnlineMall.com studios. It's now time for Greg's Highlights, presented by Hampton Roads OnlineMall.com.
And want to thank Matt Sims from the USCAA. Very nice small college conference right there. Of course, Stratford is going to be part of that as well. And we've been part of several of their championships, broadcasting baseball and volleyball. Kudos to them in Norfolk as well for doing a great job. We mentioned the Vanguard Championship Wrestling going on Saturday in Suffolk. They're going to have a special guest appearance as well, a meet and greet from several Hall of Famers. The Enforcer, Arn Anderson, J.J. Dillon. Meet and greet begins at 5. Bell time is 7:30. The main event, VCW heavyweight champion Brandon Scott with Jerry Stefanitsis defends against Impact Wrestling's Caleb Conley with J.J. Dillon. Also, VCW Liberty champion Romanus defends against Phil Brown, half of the VCW tag team champions, and many more. Of course, ticket and photo ops will be available at their website, too. More information, go there, vcw-wrestling.com, or just Google VCW Wrestling. A locals tradition is CP Shuckers, locations on Shore Drive and Pacific Avenue. People love their prime rib, seafood, and much more. They showcase the NFL. Thank goodness it starts Thursday. NASCAR, Major League Baseball, of course, college football, golf, soccer, tennis. The U.S. Open's going on right now. Watch it at CP Shuckers. Like both locations on Facebook. Log on to cpshuckers.com. Eat or be eaten at CP Shuckers. Of course, this all powered by HRSMHOF.com, Hampton Roads Sports Media Hall of Fame as well. We're making our big announcement November the 9th, of course, and we're going to make the decision on who the 5 winners will be. We'll have a ballot. The 7 board members will make the decision for the former print, broadcast, and PR media members who've done 5 years of sports media excellence, at least in their careers, right here in Hampton Roads as well. You can see it again at HRSMHOF.com. The Twitter handle is HRSMHOF. I want to get your thoughts, too. We mentioned wrestling coming up in Suffolk this coming weekend, which is always fun. But UFC, it seems like it's kind of taken over that boxing and wrestling genre. And one thing I was really impressed by the match a few weeks ago was that McGregor was not a professional boxer, but he sustained a long time in a sport that he's not that familiar with.
Right. His conditioning wasn't very good, but his technique, I mean, he still had the MMA. You could, if you watch the fight, you could see that it's in his MMA technique is ingrained in him. He was trying to throw some hammer fists in there. He was grappling a little bit too much. But as far as his actual boxing skills, I mean, he landed more punches on Mayweather than Pacquiao did in that fight, and only doing it in, 7 rounds, 8 rounds. Amazing fight, very entertaining. I thought it was well worth the increased price. Normally pay-per-view is maybe $50.
You paid $100.
I paid $100, and I thought it was worth every penny. I was thoroughly entertained by it, which is exactly what I was looking for.
All right, some people had some interrupted audio and video. How was your audio and video?
Oh, it was perfect.
It was good.
Yeah,
okay.
Everything was perfect and crystal clear.
One thing, too, I was impressed by as well was the fact that not only did he sustain for several rounds, but, he is 11 years younger. He's 29. Mm-hmm. The other gentleman is 40. And, they were both talking a lot of trash before and after. But it's, again, the fact that he did it at that level with that pressure the first time against probably one of the best boxers of all time, wasn't just a regular counterpart that he normally beats pretty bad in the UFC.
Yeah, Conor's on a different level when it comes to confidence and belief in himself. He does something different than most athletes do in MMA and probably even in boxing as well, but it's just the visualization that he does. He sees every aspect that he needs to go through, so he's not surprised. He's not thrown off by anything. So he's anticipating stuff. He just has an immense belief in himself, such confidence in his skill, and obviously the work ethic as well. It's just his conditioning just wasn't at the level that it needed to be. But I thought his skill, if he had the time, I think it would have been a different outcome.
Yeah,
possibly.
The pay-per-view did very well, too. So people were not worried about the $100. All right, we'll get ready to talk to Dave Johnson here momentarily. Panera Bread, PaneraBread.com. Go by there at 6255 College Drive in Suffolk. Give them a call at 483-3670. Food as it should be, natural and fresh, soups, sandwiches, salads, breakfast, beverages, bagels, smoothies, all at Panera. They deliver. They do catering as well. Great for football as well. Go by the Panera right there at 6255 College Drive in Suffolk. Sports Scene will continue after these messages.
You are listening to Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris. Now, back to Greg.
Don't forget, folks, the Hampton Cup Regatta going on September 23rd and 24th. The oldest continually running powerboat event in the country. Very good. All right. Big showcase on Fox this Sunday at 1 o'clock. Eagles take on the Redskins, of course. Looking forward to that. Kenny Albert with a call on Fox. I'll be the stage manager. Looking forward to being back up there. We'll see if the Redskins are for real. They've had a lot of distractions during the offseason. Not a big fan of them going to Richmond every year. I don't think they should do stuff like that if they have winning records every year and they make the postseason. Let's get somebody to elaborate on that more. Anchor with Comcast Sportsnet, former voice of the Naval Academy. You've heard him here doing the Wizards for over 20 years in the Mid-Atlantic. Let's welcome Dave Johnson. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well.
Very good. Glad you're with us as well. And, of course, before we talk about the Wizards, let's talk about the Redskins. They've had some off-season distractions, including a player who's contemplating retirement. And here's my thing about that, Sula Craven's correct, is the whole thing about that is, why is he doing that now in September? That's something he should not be burdening a team with a few days before they're taking on the Eagles.
Yeah, you know what? It's one of those things, and I think Jay Gruden kind of said it best, that whatever is troubling him is, they're going to remain private, but he did say that he was trying to clear up some personal issues. So I think when it comes to that, you really can't make a judgment. In other words, we don't have the facts or the complete understanding or the complete picture. It's hard to even begin to speculate. It's not a situation where all of a sudden it seems like a guy just woke up one day and on a whim decided, I'm walking away. But the only thing I can say is I hope whatever the situation is that he can resolve it and he can come up with a decision that he's going to be at peace with. I don't, I really don't think it's even a talking point, because there's really not much that we understand about what's pushed him to the point where he would be, going to the general manager, Bruce Allen, and saying he's ready to retire. So clearly something serious is going on in his life that has put him to that point. But what that is, we don't know. And so I think it's hard to really speculate or discuss.
Right. He's in his early 20s. That's kind of rare. But anyway, Dave, give us our audience a lay of the land, everything you're doing now. You're anchor on the radio. You're very involved with the soccer team, the Wizards, of course. Give us a lay of the land on pretty much day-to-day for you during the seasons.
Well, I'm blessed to be doing a lot of what I like to do, and I just got done doing the mornings in Washington, anchoring the sports, and still this is my 22nd season broadcasting DC United, and we're on in Richmond, on CW Richmond, somewhere in Norfolk, but I forget offhand, the top of my head. I apologize for that. And about to start another season of Wizards basketball on the radio. So it's great to be busy with stuff you love, and that makes me a blessed guy.
Talking to Dave Johnson on Sports Scene, what kind of team did the soccer team have this past year?
It's not been good. It was a team that reloaded too late. They just brought in some new additions. Paul Ariola, who plays for the U.S. national team, Zoltan Stieber, who played in the German Bundesliga, and Russell Canals, who also played with a German team, and in his case is an American. Zoltan Stieber is they would indicate it may not be, or it could be an American, but in this case, he's a Hungarian international. And those guys have brought a new life, a new energy. The problem is that it's coming too late. And so the team that made the playoffs last year and really looked poised to make a serious run last year just did not repeat, and they did not get better quick enough. So that's the short answer. And you have a league now in Major League Soccer that it is in some ways like the NFL, where on any given weekend anything can happen, and in just a minute you predict the results, you can't predict them, and that makes it good from drama and everything else. It drives the coaches nuts, but and also each year the competition level is getting higher. When you see an Atlanta team coming in, owned by the Falcons owner Arthur Blank, and they're averaging 46,000 fans a game, and they're an expansion team, but they're bringing in big name players. It just raises the level. But from a DC United perspective, they were able to get involved in getting better players. It just happened too late in the season. Although they're not out of the playoffs, but they're really dancing on the fault line, and they have to continue the run they started before the international break. But I think the infusion of the new talent, it fits in with they're going into a brand new stadium that's going to be just a few blocks from Nationals Park, in just a tremendous location in Washington D.C. So that's going to elevate the profile of the club even more, and hopefully also, the play on the field will follow.
Yeah, I rode by there a few weeks ago and worked the Nationals and the Mets game. How far off is that? Is that 2019? How far off is that?
No. It's going to be next year. I mean,
wow. Okay.
The first section has been installed. There's they call them super beams have been put in. I'm not a construction expert, but so it's coming along. I mean, it's been under construction. Oh God, since February or March of this year, and unfortunately, the way these things don't take precisely a year to build, so then that means next season they're going to have a very heavy road schedule to start the year. Probably play the first, maybe 8 games on the road, but that's happened before in Major League Soccer, because you can't time these stadiums. They don't get it built exactly in 1 year. So it's you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, in trying to schedule them. So, but right now everything is on course, even though it seems like it never stops raining. But they're progressing along, and that's the exciting part. After years of plans and blueprints and whatever, it's now girders and beams we're talking about.
What's going to happen to RFK? I mean, that was a big tenant.
Well, that's a whole other question. That it sits on federal land, and so that I throw it out there as a statement, meaning that the next move for RFK, whatever it is not going to be a quick decision, and it won't happen fast.
Very
what
good.
It will be, I have no idea, but it's not as simple as it's part of the land owned by Greg Bicouvaris on the Bicouvaris parcel, and he's decided that he wants to put a water park there or something. It's not that simple. It's on federal land, and there's all kinds of things involved with that. So eventually something will be done, but there's not a clear cut plan right now that anybody's come forth and said, this is the way forward.
That place is old, 30 years ago, RFK. I just don't know how anybody could broadcast out of there, but it's historic, but it's not as relevant as it used to be, just the sign of the times. All right, want to get your thoughts, too. One player that played for the soccer team that was really popular back in the day was Freddie Adu. I think he played with Tampa Bay recently. And what happened to him? Why didn't it work out in Washington? Was it just too much, too young? Was he maturing, evolving? I thought he was going to be kind of like a John Wall kind of type, that was sustained forever.
Well, it's a real curious question, because he's a player right now without a team and seemingly without a career yet. He's a player that played at a very high level, and including time with the national team and including time contributing to the national team. So it's something I don't have an answer for in terms of why he's not. It's a head scratcher how he's a very nice guy. So it's not like you're saying, well, he's that's the reason why he's not involved. He's a bad seed or whatever. He had a lot of talent. He was. He came into a tough situation where he was very young. Some people will blame Major League Soccer and for exploiting him at a young age. There's that narrative out there that they took advantage of that and the hype it created, because there was a lot of hype. But that's always a slippery slope. Where it's a blame. You can't really blame one side when things don't go well, because it's the player, the person, and the family were certainly willing participants in terms of trying to achieve the success they had. And when I say he was young, he was 14. It would not be unheard of in other sports or even international soccer, where sometimes you get players at 16 and 17 in other countries. So they really don't have the college system that we have, that has kind of been forever the cocoon in sports development in this country. They don't have that in other countries. I mean, the basketball players that come over and play in the NBA, in many cases they've been pro since they've been 17. So it's one of those things where he was in a commotion with Pele, and you really thought he's going to be the next thing, and there was that belief and certainly that energy behind him that was going to happen, and it didn't. And obviously, if I had the explanation of why, I'd probably be coaching a team somewhere. It really is one of those. And I'm trying to compare it. It's certainly, we've probably seen it in other sports where the can't miss does miss. And that may be the only analogy, because we're approaching football season. I think of great college football players that never really did anything in the NFL. Whether it's I remember from my childhood, and Archie Griffin was just a bomb with Ohio State, and but he got to the NFL and never really had an impact. So that's maybe a stretch of a comparison because I think more was even expected from Freddie to do. But it also speaks to what a big leap it is in all sports to go from the youth level, the college level, whatever level it is, to that professional level. It's a whole new game.
Yeah, not to mention, you mentioned Archie Griffin, but Pete Johnson also played with him with Ohio State. He didn't do much in the NFL either, played for the Bengals a little bit. Maryland got a big win over Texas. You got the Orioles and the Nationals fighting for playoffs. Nationals are definitely going to make it. The Orioles are still kind of like fighting for the wild card. You got the Redskins against the Eagles. Wizards and Caps a few months away before they start up in November, but they'll be practicing very soon. So a lot going on right now. What are you most excited about right now?
I think, obviously on a personal level, I think, the DC United, even though it's not a push for the playoffs, it just was, we were talking about RFK, we're approaching the final game for DC United RFK. So, while that stadium is definitely, as you said, gotten old, it's a stadium that holds not only for Redskin fans special memories, but also for the last 20 years, a lot of special memories, as that was at one point in the 90s and early 2000s a go-to venue for U.S. soccer. So I think you talk to people around D.C., there still is an emotional fiber that goes about RFK Stadium. But, the baseball stuff is exciting with we're all kind of in Washington on pins and needles thinking, now is this going to be the year for the Nationals? Because they've had the talent and we've had our hearts broken already in October, and that's, in many ways it's kind of a neat feeling because there's many years we had our hearts broken in April because we didn't have a baseball team in Washington. So, but will this be the year they finally break through? The Orioles are just from Manny Machado hitting that two-run homer last night, and they win in dramatic fashion against the Yankees. They're kind of a neat story right now because they're the team that was supposed to be done by now, and they're making a push for a wild card. So, with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and God bless, I hope everybody's okay with the storms that we're dealing with. So, but there's a lot of bad news surrounding us that it's nice to have these kind of distractions where we can
sure.
Just really get into the drama of the sports, and that's what it's supposed to be all about. So in our area, we have no shortage of it. With certainly the Nationals are headed for the postseason. Maybe the Orioles are going to be there, and again, it's I think it's you mentioned the Maryland Texas Maryland playing Texas in a regular season game. First of all, is something that because of my age, it's hard for me to wrap my head around. But Maryland's in the Big Ten. A lot of the world's changed. They tell me the world's not flat anymore. It's round and it's changed. But the fact they went out down there and beat Texas, you're thinking, well, maybe is this the start of a good era in Maryland football? Because that's they've got a real challenge to be a football school, and as we know, they've had some kind of like the Bobby Ross era where it really seemed like it had some promise in the 80s, and unfortunately, for a lot of reasons, that didn't continue. The Ralph Region era had some flirtation with putting Maryland on the map in football. So, it's way too early to even compare to those two eras of Maryland football. Yeah. But it was, I got to admit, it was exciting to see them get that win on the road against Texas, and also especially in the regular season. Once upon a time, you'd only see Texas in a game with Maryland if it was the Sun Bowl.
Dave, thank you so much. We'll talk to you as it gets closer to the Wizard season, my friend.
Looking forward to it. I mean, John Wall's locked into a new contract, and it's his team and it's his town, and that's provided a lot of energy. I'm seeing more John Wall jerseys on the street, and so I think it's going to be an interesting winter.
Very good. All right, my friend, stay safe and good luck with the final game at RFK.
Okay, thanks, man.
All right, very good. Dave Johnson right there, the voice of the Wizards, also an anchor with Comcast Sportsnet. Let's get to what teased me off.
What tees you off? Presented by HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com.
And Outback Steakhouse at 1255 Fordham Drive in Virginia Beach. Give them a call at 523-4832. Open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week with great steak, seafood, and pasta. Question for you, Joe Daniel, quickly. When you and your wife see bad weather on the news, especially hurricanes or snowstorms, even locally, does that change your grocery store habits?
Yes. It does, and I think it should, because it's a reminder that you never think it's going to happen to you until it happens to you. So it's just a good reminder to always be prepared. We have jugs of water. There was a storm, I think last year, was when we bought a little camping stove that takes propane, just in case the power goes out. So yes, I think that it's good to go to the grocery store just to get a little something here and there, flashlights, batteries, medical kits. Yes, we absolutely do change our habits.
Very good. Also, you can go to Buffalo Wild Wings, get some wings, pick and roll at 12150 Jefferson Avenue. Give them a call at 249-3999. Right there in Jefferson Avenue by Patrick Henry Mall. We got great street tacos, mozzarella sticks, drinks, sweet spots, all the best wings, all the great sauces, salads, burgers, wraps, sandwiches, desserts as well. Buy a bottle, make a difference at Buffalo Wild Wings in Newport News. What else teased me off? Lack of communication from people in the communication business.
Yeah, yeah, that's something that we kind of say around the station when somebody's not communicating very well. Not stumbling around the words or anything, but not making sure that that everybody's informed of the information that needs to be notified.
Speaking of the weather, when you're watching CNN or Fox News Channel, their complicated weather forecasts. Just give us the weather.
Yeah, just tell it like it is. Show us the map.
Oh, the whole thing about assuming, you just assume something. That can go wrong. You know what assuming means, don't you?
Oh, yes.
We don't need to say it. How about this? Putting words in people's mouth when you're talking on the phone, especially.
Yeah.
That's bad.
I love watching debates, and that is the number one strategic tactic that people go to try to discredit. So what they're saying is, no, that's not what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm telling you what I'm saying. Don't tell me what I'm saying. I'm telling you right now.
Or even in a relationship or talking to family and friends.
Yeah.
How about this? Going to a restaurant, sitting at a bar, and there's people behind you, 10 of them ordering drinks and having their own little party. That can be noisy.
Yes, noisy, yeah. Or a bunch of kids or something like that.
What else teased me off? Price of bait. Almost $11 for bloodworms, Joe Daniel.
Is it really? I have no idea. I have no point of reference when it comes to bait. I'm not a fisherman, and so I have no point of reference to the cost. I have no idea.
But you've seen this, jaywalkers in the middle of the night trying to cross the street while you're driving.
Yeah, or just who don't, completely oblivious. They're looking down at their phone, or they're just have that mentality of, what are you going to do, hit me?
Yeah.
And so they just take their time and meander across the way.
Control freaks are never good in any business, home or business. And how about this, the worst thing? Auto warning lights on your dashboard. Service engine light. Just what you need on a Friday afternoon or a Monday morning.
Exactly. No, it's the kind of the worst way to start your week out, knowing that you have to take it into the shop, take it half a day at least, and just wait for your vehicle.
And wait on their time, too, while they're getting you the big bill. I want to thank Matt Sims as Dave Johnson for our guest today, Sports Scene, GJBTV.com, Hampton Roads Online Mall.com, as well as HRSMHOF.com. Go to my website, gjbtv.com, for all the information. Click the YouTube link on the homepage. We'll be back for a Sports Scene next Wednesday the 13th. My birthday is the 11th. Happy birthday, of course, coming up. Looking forward to the Redskins-Eagles on Fox at 1 o'clock Sunday on the 10th. For Joe Daniel, I'm Greg Bicouvaris. Happy Wednesday. Enjoy the weather. We'll talk to you soon.
AM 1650 WHKT Portsmouth, 92.5 FM W223CT Norfolk. For your daily supply of news and talk, we are the answer.